Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Hatha All Levels with Jennifer Eubank and Zoom, here each Thursday from 9 to 10:15. Thank you for being here. And I'll welcome Karen, who will not be with us live, but she'll be doing the video ops. Thank you for joining us, Karen. So today we are finishing up the chakras. Well, not finishing. We're at the top chakra. We're still going to do a few things in the next couple of weeks that are chakra oriented. But today we're up to the top chakra, the seventh chakra, the crown chakra. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. But first things first, let's take just a few moments to settle into our spaces. Have all of your props nearby, your blocks, your blanket. I don't have specific plans for a strap. Good morning, Helen. Okay, so we'll take just a few moments to settle into our spaces. You can start seated or lying down. It's up to you. Settle into your space. Maybe close your eyes and perhaps take a few cleansing breaths to help you settle in. Lengthening your exhales to be longer than your inhales. Settling into quiet breath as you're ready. Softening the gaze, closing the eyes. If you feel safe doing so. Notice how your space feels today. There's familiarity, there's a little differences each day, especially as we focus or understand that outside aura coming into the house. That changes quite a lot, and that affects our practice. Take it all in. And as you're ready, draw your attentions inward. Scan through your physical structure. We're tapping into our root chakra here, establishing a sense of safety, stability, understanding our basic needs for the particular moment, connecting to the earth, its element, first three chakras are very physical. So we generally start with the physical in our practice. Go a few more breaths here. And then as you're ready, slowly glide your eyes back open. Speaking of eyes, I have a little eye issue in this eye this morning, so I just put a drop in it because that's really tough. So if you're wondering why this eye is very watery, that's why. Maybe you didn't even notice. Okay, let's go ahead and let's start in a reclining position today. So lie back, preferably have I mean, you could be at an incline if you want, but if you can lie back completely on your floor, and you could have the knees bent or the feet extended, the legs extended. Kind of settle in, wriggle about. Maybe you were already lying back. Maybe you didn't start in a seated position. So take a few moments, again, tapping into your root chakra. What's it like to be in this position now that I've changed? You can kind of wriggle any tensions out as you settle in, eventually finding a nice, quiet, still body for a couple of breaths. I'll give you time to do that. One more breath. And then today, for the first part of our practice, we'll start with a breath technique, pranayama, which, by the way, is the fourth limb. Remember, I mentioned earlier the 8 limbs of yoga. Well, asana, the postures, the third limb, the fourth limb is pranayama. So we'll start with a little breath technique, some pelvic belly breath. I'm going to stay seated for this, but you continue to lie back. I think it's a really nice way to do belly breath because you get to feel the floor on the back of the body. And speaking of which, you might want to bend your knees, feet on the floor, to give your back a little bit more support. Bent knees will give that back support. You could even bring the knees together and the feet wide-ish, like a constructive rest pose. So take your time assembling your pranayama base, your foundation. And we'll be doing some pelvic breath, also known as belly breath or diaphragmatic breath. So if you know this breath technique, you could go ahead and start. And if you're unfamiliar, this is done with the eyes closed, if it's there for you, or the gaze softened. And you breathe in and out through your nose, tapping into your parasympathetic, your rest and digest nervous system, calming you, quieting you. And take a few rounds of that quiet nasal breath. And as you familiarize yourself with the rhythm of the breath, see if you can start to regulate that breath, drawing the inhales in deeper, bringing it down into the body, down into the belly region on that inhale, and letting it rise back up with the exhale. And as you continue, see if you can deepen the inhales and lengthen the exhales so that the belly rises and expands much more noticeably as you continue, almost as if you're blowing up a beach ball. And this is why it's nice to have those knees bent, because this might put a little tiny strain on the low back as you do this. As we're using not just the breath to fill up this pelvic region, but we're also using the muscles to aid that breath. The diaphragm helps expand the ribs and pull the lungs down to expand. So that's a very principal core muscle. That's why this is called diaphragmatic breathing. It descends as you breathe in, it rises back up as you breathe out. And we'll continue this for a couple more minutes. So if it starts to make you dizzy or if it gets too intense, you have options to keep you safe and sound and grounded. The whole purpose of this breath technique. This breath technique is also called anchor breath. And an anchor steadies you, stills you, grounds you. So today our focus is on the crown chakra. But as we have realized in the past few weeks, there's a sequential order in many ways and how these chakras ascend physically as well as conceptually. So that we don't forget about those first chakras as we focus on the crown chakra. In fact, one of the best ways to balance that top chakra is to balance those leading up to it. So today's practice will be doing 7 different things leading up to that crown. So this breath technique is helping you to tap into your sense of belonging, your sense of safety, stabilizing you, connecting you to the earth. All root chakra properties. But you can probably also sense the next chakra, the sacral chakra, which is all about change and feeling and fluid movement, because the body expands and softens, and you can probably feel your sacrum, which is where that second chakra is. You can probably feel it widen and ground and root more readily into that floor with this breath technique. So let's go about maybe 10 more rounds of this belly breath. Crown chakra, its element is consciousness, thought. Not a very tangible element. But remember, the upper chakras are more esoteric. They're more metaphysical. They're not grounded in tangible elements. Its color is violet on the rainbow spectrum, and its location is the crown of the head, just above your third eye. Properties are consciousness, awareness, self-realization. So I want to do lots of introspective explorations today. So this belly breath not only taps into those first 2 chakras, but it's very meditative in nature, which can also help you balance your crown chakra. Meditation is one of the best ways to tap into your sense of understanding because it helps you wipe the slate clean, set aside any societal expectations and conditioning, setting aside your need to always have things your way, because we're all part of a bigger thing. We're all part of a big universe. We're all connected and related. Couple more breaths. Taking your time. Coming back to more quiet breath when you're ready. If your crown chakra gets out of hand, you could be very materialistic, disconnected with the world, kind of in your own head, maybe even alienated. Other properties of an imbalanced crown chakra is being spacey or maybe even overly intellectual. That's all we think about is the mind, and we're out of touch with our bodies. Okay, so for the next chakra, our sacral chakra, just all about change, fluidity, our pleasure palace, so to speak. We'll do some twisting, and I thought we would start with those four-legged twists. So I'm getting down on the floor to make sure everybody knows, because we don't do these all the time, but we have been lately. And you start on your back with the knees bent, feet on the floor, and you put your right ankle on the left knee, and take a few moments to get used to that change. Now, we don't want to rush anything. We ease into the movement, and we start to bring the knee structure from side to side, keeping the foot up on that knee, finding a pace and a rhythm and a range that works. Get the arms out of the way so you've got clearance for those legs, and bring the head into it when you're ready. Starting in the same direction to begin with, easing into that movement. Breath coordinated the movement, inhaling with one motion, exhaling with another. Feel your sacrum, the widest part of your spine, in between the hips, getting a nice little massage here. So we can tap into the physical properties as well as those emotional properties of our sacrum. And energetic, we've got fluid movement here, but we can feel it on the floor. Maybe twist the head in the opposite direction. And these little movement sequences are very meditative. And not only are we tapping into the root and the sacral, but we're also conditioning our crown chakra by keeping the movement slow and quiet, introspective. Pay attention to how it evolves. Let's do one more round and try to remember to end on the opposite edge side from which you started to keep things balanced. Come back to the center and stay there for a breath or two. Notice how you feel now that you're back. We don't want to rush transitions, remember. Keeps us balanced. Bring that foot down, take a breath or two. Notice that change. All these things help your nervous system stay in check. Now we'll switch. The other foot, ankle comes up to the knee, arms where they need to be. Take care of those basic root chakra needs. And then start a little bit of movement, first with the legs, coordinating the breath, bringing the head into it when you're ready. And you might start in that twisting direction from the get-go on this side, because we've had some time to work out any kinks that we might be feeling in the neck and the shoulder. I mean, that's not to say that there are some still there, you know, there are none there, I should say. What's it like on this side? Pay attention. Avoid any time traveling, thinking about other things. You want to stay here in the moment, understand what this movement is doing for us. Comparing to the other side is a great place to start with that little exploration. And how are things progressing? Maybe you're going a little further each time now. Maybe you're going slower. Maybe that breath is helping you to regulate this movement as it is intended to do. Let's go a few more rounds. Try to remember which side you started on, ending on the second side to reinforce the idea of balance. Coming back to the center, staying there for a couple of breaths before you bring the foot down. So notice the hips when one is still angled and open, and then when it's back to its neutral state. Actually, its neutral state would be the legs extended. This might be a good time to extend your legs and take your arms overhead and stretch out the body. We feel a nice little spine stretch there. After all, the chakras are all based along the spine there. Okay. Back to the center with the knees bent. Let's take a breath or two here. We'll check in. And then as you're ready, let's do some leg extensions, arm leg extensions to tap into our next chakra, our third chakra, which is all about will, determination, strength, and stamina. And again, very physical, and we can get at this chakra by strengthening our core muscles. So this movement, we want to make sure we can bring our arms overhead and not run into anything out to the sides. Once we've established those basic needs, draw your belly in to engage your muscles and hug your knees into your chest. You can put some slight squeezes to your bum and your leg muscles to help you with this movement. Apanasana. Remember, this is very good for your first two chakras. You can give your sacrum a little massage. And this is good for digestion and elimination, which are based on those basic survival needs. Okay, so those two chakras are intact. They're part of this movement. And then when you're ready, we'll start the movement, extending our limbs, the legs towards the ceiling, the arms overhead, or maybe out to the sides. And we'll play around with both arm movements. Sometimes we'll do them out to the sides, sometimes we'll do them overhead, so that you can target not just those lower core muscles in the belly and the low back, but those in your chest and your upper back. Keep the belly drawn in, a slight engagement of the leg and the bum muscles, your glute muscles, keeping the body safe so that you're not creating any harm or adverse effects. You could rest If you want, however, if you want to really focus on that sense of will and determination, the properties associated with our third chakra, our solar plexus, and you could just kind of slow down the pace. Keep up, and you'll be kept up. Conserve your energy. So let's go about maybe 10 or so more breaths, 10 more rounds. Noticing how things are progressing. Great core strengthener. All up and down the spine. And return to Apanasana when you're ready. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to talk on my back. Okay, maybe do a little bit of rocking and rolling. And draw the belly in before you bring your feet down so you don't strain that lower back. And we want to build the muscles around the spine, and we want to keep its environs healthy. Take a couple of breaths. How do you feel? And then as you're ready, let's make our way up to a seated position. And we'll take just a few moments in a seat. I'll grab my tea. So as you sit, each week, almost every week, whether we're studying the chakras or not, we do our paint the rainbows. But it's very fitting for our chakra studies because, again, the chakras, an ancient energetic system that has been around for thousands of years, helping us to understand these energetic clusters all along the spine that dictate our physical manifestations as well as how our behavior ensues. But the rainbows brought into the picture in the 70s. So our view of the chakras have evolved over the years. So let's do some rainbows, hands out to the sides, find a nice good foundation. And whenever you're ready, you can bring those arms up and bring one hand down to root and ground you to help you reach and lengthen that spine and curve gently and go from side to side, rooting and grounding and extending and curving, maybe going a little deeper each time. This is so good for your spine. Bringing space to the many vertebrae in the spine. Bringing space to the areas all along the spine. Creating more open pathways for these energies to flow about the body. Red is the first color of our rainbow. Our first chakra's color, root chakra, I am. Second chakra, orange. Sacral chakra, all about emotions and change. I feel. Next is yellow, your solar plexus chakra, your sense of will and determination. I do. Then your heart chakra, which is green, relationships, compassion, I love. And then next is light blue, voice chakra in your throat, communication, I speak. And then next is indigo blue, your third eye chakra, right at the brow level. Intuition, I see. All leading up to today's chakra, violet, crown chakra, divine consciousness, awareness. I understand. So a couple more rounds. And we'll make our way back to the center, trying to end on the side that was not the beginning. That didn't come out right. Find a little balance to your movement and then balance back to the center. And let's take 3 breaths. We'll check in time. Okay, so next we will do a little bit more core work, but we'll also start to tap into the 4th chakra, the heart chakra. So you might want to take off your socks for this. That's up to you. And what we'll do is we'll come into a table position. And then from your table position, you could have something under your knees. Remember, this is your foundation, so you want to not take that table for granted. Spend ample time in it to make sure you've got that foundation, you got everything you need so that you can evolve and tap into your sense of creativity, your 2nd chakra. And you can keep up with it with your 3rd chakra. Bring your hands forward a couple of inches. And we'll do a little bit of core strengthening work by going into some rocking horses, meaning we come forward into a kneeling plank, which is a great way to strengthen your core muscles, and go back into your child's pose, which can help you lengthen your spine. And we'll go back and forth, taking your time to find a range and a pace that's going to work for you. Make sure as you land in your kneeling plank that your shoulders are right over your elbows. So you're not going beyond like that, because that's going to hurt those wrists, and that's also going to crowd your spine. You want to give your torso plenty space to allow that spine to lengthen. And then at some point, we can turn these rocking horses into what's called rolling cobras. So next time, instead of going into a kneeling plank, come into a cobra pose and let the legs come way down and lift the heart. Yeah. So we'll go back and forth from a child's up into that cobra, a heart lifter, tapping into that 4th chakra. Our heart space, opening up the chest, opening up that heart space, not just in the front, but the sides and the back of the body. And we'll keep going. And if ever you need a break, you can rest in child's pose. And if at some point you'd like to turn your rolling cobras back into rocking horses, and do a simple couple of planks. So maybe after a while, you're like, I don't feel like doing another back bend. So you have options here. So keep going back and forth. I'm going to take a little break and check on you. Take your time. Nice long spine. And you can feel that extension if you're going into that cobra movement. Inhale with one movement, exhale with another. Take your time. Let's do one or two more rotations. And maybe the last one, instead of making it a rolling cobra, maybe kind of stop short and just do a plank. Maybe do a couple of those rocking horses. And then eventually land in your version of child's pose. So you could bring the arms in, the hands in. You could put the hands under the head. You can put them on the back. Take your time settling into your child's pose. And then take 5 nice long rest breaths. And as you inhale into the body, see if you can take the inhale down the right side of the spine and then back up the left side of the spine. So this takes a little bit of creativity, visualization. Imagine the breath coming in the right side of the spine and going back up the left side of the spine. And that might help you lengthen the time that the inhale stays in your body. You might even gently hold it, a little pause before you let it round the base of the spine and make its way back up. That can help you not only with your visualization skills and your breath skills, but it can help you lengthen that spine and learn to draw awareness to your spinal column. Our spinal health is so important. And the ancient yogis knew this. They knew this intuitively. They didn't need machinery to help them understand these ideas. So as you're ready, let's go ahead and make your way back up to a table position and kind of, shake it out. And let's go ahead, let's do a brief standing flow, okay? So let's make our way up to a standing position and take the next couple of minutes to do that. So you could always come up by way of a down dog. Down dogs are really nice for you to lengthen that spine, and you can turn the down dog into a forward fold, or maybe you could just simply stand up. I do ask that you are safe with that spine, that you use the legs and the glutes, hinging at the hips to lift up. We don't want any of that old-fashioned rolling the spine up, because that's so bad for that spine. Use those good, strong, foundational root chakra muscles to get you up. Okay, now that you're up, let's take a few moments to get the lay of the land, as we always do. What's it like standing up? What do we need? I'm fixing my hair, okay? That might seem superficial, but it's root chakra stuff. Because if my hair is bothering me, it's going to interfere with my warrior exploration, which is what we'll do next. And that can help us tap into our voice chakra, which is just above the heart, located in the throat. And it's all about communication, learning to stand up for ourselves and others. Warriors are a great way to do that. And we can also add some ujjayi breath into it. Star Wars Darth Vader breath, so that you can hear and feel the breath in your throat. So let's do a few rounds of that. You can be kind of moving as you do that, or you can be still. You're narrowing the passageway of your throat, so you're pushing the air in and back out. So again, that's a great technique that you can use to power up this warrior sequence, and it's a great way for you to reinforce the balancing of that voice chakra that we're trying to do. So I'm going to start on this end so that when we open out, I open out facing you. You start at the top of your mat in a mountain pose. And then when you're ready, we'll step the right foot back and make our way into a warrior one. So please take your time stabilizing your warrior one. And then once you've got a good sound warrior one, let's make a little change and come into cactus arms. I'm bending the elbows, and you can feel the chest and the upper back a little bit more. And then let's bring those hands down and interlace the fingers. And let's reach for the floor with the hands as we lift the heart towards the ceiling, kind of looking up at that ceiling, shoulders soft. Take your time coming into that position. And then when you're ready, we can release it and return to our warrior one. And then let's go into cactus arms. And then let's open out to warrior two. And as we open out to warrior two, the feet line up in a different way. So they're not on a diagonal. The front foot is lined up with the back foot. And the front foot is facing the short side of the mat, as is that front hand looking towards that hand. Let's do some bowing actions, bringing that back hand to the front arm, helping you to open up the back. Avoid leaning and coming, stay right in the center. It's just about bringing that arm back and forward, opening up that space, landing in your warrior two as you're ready. You can always sneak another one in. And then let's turn that front hand over, lift up into a sun. Maybe use your ujjayi breath as you're doing these movements. Let's go back to our warrior two. Let's do a few more of these bows. One more sun. Maybe we didn't do the sun yet. We can come back to warrior two. Take your time. Ujjayi breath whenever you want it. And when you're ready, we can step forward. Take your time, stepping back to the front of the mat. And let's take 3 breaths. Try to stay still the first 3 breaths. And let the body settle back down on its own. Avoid moving the body and doing something different right away. Sometimes I see people just go right into another pose. fold forward, and we want the spine to adjust and the hips to come back to their natural place before we ask them to do something like that. And this is root chakra stuff. We don't want to rush it. And then, okay, if you still want to do something like fold forward, you could do that, but you haven't rushed it, you know? Or maybe you want another type of movement. I'm going to take one more sip of tea and then we'll go to the next side. So when you're ready, let's do the left side. So I'm going to turn this in. So again, I open out to you. First things first, we start in a mountain, stepping the left foot back, taking your time to make your way into your warrior one on the side. Maybe doing some ujjayi breathing, cactus arms at some point. Maybe do a couple of flies on this side, bringing the arms in and out. We didn't do that on the other side. And then let's revisit that back bend where we interlace the fingers in the back, press the feet into the floor, draw the belly in, engage the leg and the core muscles, squeeze those legs, engage your glutes to help you support your back bend. Coming back to your regular warrior one as you're ready, your standard traditional warrior one, Virabhadrasana. Open out to your Virabhadrasana 2 when you're ready. Lining up the feet. Make sure you've got those basic alignment principles intact as you make each change, so you don't rush exploring these poses. So we've got a good base, then we can start to bring a little bit of movement in things. We know we're safe, we're sound, we're taking care of ourselves, expressing ourselves. A few more bows. Coming back to a still warrior 2. Coming up into a sun. Nice little heart lift here. So we're all using all those chakras, not just our voice chakra. Coming back to a warrior 2 as you're ready. Couple of breaths there. Maybe fit one more sun in. Nice little heart lifter. And we can make our way back to that base warrior 2. And after you're there for a breath or 2, then it's time to come forward. And then stay there for a breath or 2. Notice the body. Feel where you feel that sequence the most. Pay attention. Draw yourselves inward. This is helping you to stoke your third eye too, being aware of your experience and not just, going somewhere else with your mind and not paying attention to the effects. Okay, let's kind of shake it out. Let's do some leg tapping. I want to check our time. Okay, we're doing pretty well on time. I'm still trying to make it somewhat of an organic practice here. I think let's go ahead and make our way back down. So we just did lots of, build up, focused a lot on our voice chakra. And now we'll go to the next chakra, which is the third eye chakra. So let's do a melting heart. I think a melting heart is a great way for us to focus on our third eye. And our third eye is a very introspective place to be. So let's do a yin style pose, which is also very introspective. Again, it's melting heart. And if you know it, you can go ahead and get into it. If you're not sure, you might want something for your knees, a little padding, and you might want a block or something else like a pillow for your head. And we start in a table pose with the block near the hands. You might need to move it once you get into the pose. And, take what you need, maybe shake it out. Make sure that you're not crowding your table. So you don't want your hands real close to your knees. But look what happens to my spine. Can you see that? I crowd my spine. You want to give the spine space. Uncrowd that spine. Take a couple of breaths doing that, shaking it out. And then from your table, the hands come forward and your forearms come down. So now your shoulders are over your elbows and your hips are still over your knees, and you bring your head straight down, either to the block or the floor. So notice that my shoulders are over my elbows and my hips are over my knees. So we don't want to be doing this because that's more of a child's pose. And make sure that you're not doing this. You don't want to be arching your back like this. You want to keep the belly drawn in and your spine neutral. So work on taking any arching out. Now there's going to be a natural slight arch in your low back. Honor that, but you don't want to accentuate it. And the feet can come together, the hands can come together, or they can be apart. You decide. When you stay in this pose, make sure you've got everything you need. So if you need to lift up and start over or make some tiny adjustments, go for that. Eyes closed. And as you're ready, once you know you've got everything you need, you can start to focus, no pun intended, on our third eye. Take your gaze between the brows. This is the location of your third eye, associated with intuition, awareness, imagination. Your creativity comes here too. Your creativity pops up in a lot of these chakras. Your second, your voice, your third eye. Nice, gentle inhales and exhales, though you might want to go a little deeper with that breath work. Breath work is very meditative. Just follow the inhales and the exhales. Watch them, feel them, direct them in and out of the body. Maybe bring that inhale deep down to that root chakra and draw it back up the spine, all the way up to the crown. Comes in and down and back all the way up and out. This helps you not only work on your interoceptive skills, understanding what's going on inside your body, but it can help you understand your ability to harness your energies. And that breath is extremely harnessing, anchoring. So we're going to go let's go 7 more breaths. So that's a little bit more than a minute. Deep inhales, long exhales. Notice What happens during the inhales? What happens during the exhales? As you're ready, slowly come back to regular breath and take a couple of breaths to go ahead and start to slowly lift up. You've been in an inversion. Inversions are very nutritious for that head, but we don't want to rise up real quickly. So you come up softly, bit by bit. First the head, then the forearms, and you're back up in your table, and you can do a little bit of movement. And before we go on to the last thing that we'll do, I have a nice meditation planned. I'm going to ask Penny, I'm going to put Penny to work because during that last pose, I had a little malfunction. So I'm going to ask Penny to unmute herself and tell me if she can hear me okay with my earphones.
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Because I didn't get the signal back that usually tells me up on the screen, and that message didn't come up. Okay, sorry for that interruption. Little technical issues. Okay, so the last thing we'll do is we'll do a nice restorative pose, and we'll do a meditation within that restorative pose. So you could pick whatever restorative pose you'd like if you're familiar with yoga. But I was thinking we could do a supported reclining butterfly. So what you would need is your 2 blocks and your blanket. I'll get my purple blocks. We build a ramp for the upper body. So you've got a block for the head and a block for the back. And you put some space between the 2 blocks. You don't want to cram them up because that's going to cram up what's on the blocks. You could even take a 3rd block and put it in between the 2. And then you lie back on that. And you also want support for your knees. We've done this pose quite a few times. Supported reclining butterfly. So remember, butterfly, knees are bent and the feet are together. So I'm showing you the butterfly from the front, still seated. And the blanket can be for the knees. Or you could take something else like pillows and other blocks. Or if you use your blanket, you put the center of the blanket on the feet, and then you've got 2 ends, and you roll up those ends and you put them under your thighs and your knees. So you've got support for the lower part. So that's that. So I'll turn to the side, and then you lie back carefully. Make sure the 1 block for your spine, it's parallel to your spine. It's not wide. And then you've got the block for your head. And your head is, you don't want your head in like this. You don't want to crick in that neck. In fact, you it's preferable that your head is slightly lower than your heart. So I'm in the position now, arms can be close to the body, they can be on the body, they can be out to the sides. You could even have arm rests if you have more things in your house, like maybe another set of blocks. So take your time getting into that supported reclining butterfly. And if there are any questions, you could, like Penny just did, unmute yourselves and ask me. And this pose takes some getting used to. You gotta make sure you have everything you need and that everything is situated and stable. Because if there's something that's bothering you, that's going to interfere with your stability. And that ultimately is going to interfere with your root chakra. And if your root chakra is disturbed, it's awfully hard to explore those upper chakras. You want to be able to feel your sacrum getting nice and wide, allowing for this pelvic room. And you can feel your stomach and your chest opening up, creating more space for your breath. And then you can tap into that breath and begin to regulate it. Noticing the inhales and the exhales. Breathing all through the nose. And like I said, one of the best ways to tap into your crown chakra is to meditate. So I am offering you now a meditation. Actually, I'm going to read it. It's a new meditation for me. I got this new book called Chakras for Beginners and been using it as one of my resources. And David Pine wrote it, and he wrote this beautiful chakra meditation at the end. So I'm going to go through it with you. Make sure that you're sound and safe. You've got everything you need in your reclining butterfly, because you want to be able to settle in and stay still and quiet and draw your attentions inward. This is a very introspective, meditative meditation. That sounded funny. So as you're ready, once again, draw your awareness to your breath. All done with the nose. Take a few rounds of breath, noticing the inhales and the exhales. And as you're ready, imagine that as you draw the inhale in, it's a white light, and you're guiding that inhale and that white light down your spine to the base of your spine, to your root chakra. So you draw it in, it's white, it comes down to the root, and then it comes back out. Do a few rounds of that. And as you draw that white light in and down to the base of the spine, when it reaches the base of the spine, imagine, hold it there for just a moment, a brief pause before you let it go back out. And imagine that that white light is turning a deep red, bathing your base chakra, your root chakra, your tailbone, and a warm, glowing red light. And then as you're ready to let it go, let that red light slowly ascend back up. So you draw it in, it's white, it comes down, it turns red, and rises back up all the way out through the crown chakra. And as you do this, feel yourself become passionate, strong, physical, and filled with a courageous energy, one that's deeply rooted and grounded. Do that a few more cycles. And as you continue, when you're ready, that breath comes in, it's white, it comes down to the base, your root chakra, and then see if you could bring it slightly up to your sacral chakra, just at the pubic ridge, right? That pelvic area. And hold it there for just a little bit before you let it go back out. And keep doing this. And as it goes to that sacral chakra, visualize a deep orange color, bathing your sacrum in a warm orange glowing light before it ascends all the way up and out through your crown. The white light comes in. It visits first the root chakra, comes up to the sacral, turns orange. It becomes more vibrant as it stays there for just a moment before it rises back up. Allow yourself to bathe in that warm, glowing orange light, bringing a sense of vitality to your creative spirit. Recognize yourself as magnetic and know that you attract to you all that you need in life. Feel your sensuality awaken as your five senses come alive, as that warm orange light rises up. Sending that magnetic, joyous energy out to the world around you. And then as you're ready, first bring that beam of white light down to the base of your spine. Then let it go up to around that belly button region. Let it linger there. Feel it turning yellow and bright before it continues to ascend all the way up and out through the crown of your head. Visualize that deep, brilliant yellow. Know yourself as a person endowed with independent choice and the expression of your will. Feel the clarity of your personal power. Feel it firmly rooted in values and convictions in which you believe. Emanating up and out through the crown of your head, breathing that clarity into the world. And as you continue, bring that white light down with the inhale to the root chakra and let it rise back up and linger at the heart level and feel it turn green, a deep forest green, spinning in that vibrant energy before it rises up and out through the crown of your head. Feel that abundance of life and know that there is plenty of everything for everybody. Awaken to your generosity and your sense of love and compassion for those around you. Know from your heart that you both that you unite both your personal and your spiritual needs. And then as you continue, bring that white ray down to your base and let it rise up and then visit your throat. Let it stay there and linger and turn a light blue before it continues up through the crown. Let your thoughts be as boundless as the sky above you. Allow your imagination to carry your vision to endless reaches of awareness. Awaken to your ability to view the world creatively and your capacity to express your true self. And as you continue to breathe in that white ray, follow it down to the base of your spine and then let it rise back up. And here it lingers just between the brow as it turns that indigo blue, its color, before it starts to continue its journey back up and out of the head. Let that beam of light transform to the color blue and focus on that space. Feel the wisdom of acceptance of life as it is, leading to a sense of oneness with all life. And from this perspective, you can see both your life from a worldly view as well as from a larger spiritual perspective. And just a few more breaths, breathing that white light into the body, down to the base, and rising up, and briefly pausing at the top of your head. Feel that violet light bathing your crown chakra before it releases out. Realize that you are no longer alone as a separate being. You are united with all. Feel that sense of spiritual protection as you align with your divine consciousness. Breathe in and breathe out, sending that energy of your being to the world around you. And with your eyes still closed, come back to regular breath, just simply breathing. Let the breath enter and remain and leave however which way it wants at this point. Let it be free. Take a few quiet breaths and then start to wriggle your fingers and your toes and your hands and your feet. And then when you're ready, you can bring your knees together. And when you're ready, roll to the side and come off those blocks. And then lift back up into a seated position. Take your time doing all these things. Quiet transitions back up, noticing how you feel after that meditation. I would have liked to have left you there another minute, but it's getting to be that time. So please avoid rushing back up. quiet breaths, you know, noticing how that meditation made you feel. You know, meditations don't always resonate. It depends on where you are. Just notice how it affected you and let it be. It is what it is. Maybe it was very profound for you. Maybe something in between. And we'll finish with our mudra of the day, our seventh chakra, our crown chakra mudra, which is called Ananta mudra. Mudra is a hand gesture. So you want to make sure you're good and sound in your seat. And then what you do is you join the base of your palms and you let the other fingers spread out, expand out slightly, curved. And notice how it is representative of a crown. It looks like a crown. And you can hold that crown mudra in front of your solar plexus with a lift to the heart and take a few breaths, maybe some ujjayi breaths. Looking through the brow, your third eye. Feel the crown chakra lift towards the ceiling and the sky beyond as you continue to root into the floor and the earth beyond. And this mudra represents the crown. It's reminiscent of a crown, and it's reminiscent of its properties. It's rooted at the base, and it's open at the top, allowing for space, creating room for the infinite possibilities of your personalities, of your existence on life. A couple more breaths. And then you can release that, hands in front of your hearts. May you be safe, may you be happy, and may you be free from suffering. Namaste. And thank you so much for your practice today. Very different practice. The next couple of weeks, very movement oriented. So we'll be doing lots of sequencing and some good breath work and a few meditations too. So I think you'll enjoy it. So thank you for your time today. You'll get the tape soon. If you need to leave now, just go ahead and bump out. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.